You're good? You better get excited. It's Jimin. Everybody wake up. Put your fucking drink down for Jimin.
Shaking his head.
Like, put your food down for Jimin.
Dare you drink?
You don't even. I don't want to hear anyone breathing when the song is.
Excuse me. Got a little thirsty.
It's like, I want to go home. These used to be fun. What's up, Army? Welcome back to Redemption 46 Studios. I'm Nick.
Keith.
I'm Curtis.
I'm Jarek. And I'm Zach.
Y'all know the vibes. Y'all seen the picture. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Y'all know why y'all here.
Why y'all here?
Jimin of BTS Set Me Free Part 2.
Jimin.
This is your first time on the channel. Please hit the subscribe button and become a real redeemer today. Woo. Also, for more content like this, jump on the Patreon. We're literally getting into the J. Cole, Hobie John live performance. The RM stuff should be up. Really anything BTS related.
Yeah, we just got done Sugar Day, so there's a lot of
Sugar Day was crazy up on there. Statutai stuff. Yeah, next week should be the full album release for this, so it's gonna be B-sides and everything up on there as well.
Not to mention we always do like Bon Voyages in the soup's over, right? So.
But it might be new for someone else that never watched it.
That's true.
You're going to have 2 seasons worth of In the Soup.
So if that's the case, we also have Rise of Bang Chan and we also have Run BTS as well. So check it out.
Bang.
Yeah, no long talk. You already know. Once you gym in, you can't gym out. Let's jump into this.
Let's get it. Finally.
I'm excited to hear what he sound like.
Same.
Oh yeah, this is it. This is it. Yeah.
Hide the women and children.
Yup.
Okay.
Yup.
Choreo is already going dumb.
Was that a guy?
Nice reveal.
Oh, come
It's
on,
not loud enough.
Come on. This feels like the championship.
Yo, what sample is this? I know I heard this song.
I got a good time. Hat must be broad. Hell is at night. I never stop. And yes, you with me. Never stop.
Fuck all your yo.
Choreo crazy too.
Yeah, Jimin. Talk to him.
That sample, the production. Stop playing, man. Oh shit! It's lit!
Alright, Jim.
Bro, something wrong with the speaker. It's not loud enough.
Look at the background dancers.
That was a line from Owen.
I hear you in the back, bro. Set me free. We don't deserve you. We We don't deserve this.
We don't deserve.
That's
Nice.
incredible.
That was clean.
Oh my God, he
was
changed.
Holy shit.
He changed. They set him free.
Literally. That's crazy.
If you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. Dog, this is like everything that I like wish and pray for, but more. Like,
16.
Jimin, you evolve, bro. Like this shit, like the production on this is God tier. I love everything that he did vocally. He kind of had like the rap cadence, kind of like the talk kind of rap cadence and stuff. Like it felt contemporary, but like trap. The background and productions. Remember Streets of Fire?
Yeah.
Remember what's the first song? Going Nowhere Fast.
Yes.
You know how like the production is at the end of like behind that with like the layering with the voices.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of like the same vibe I was getting on here. If y'all don't know, like go Google it or maybe I'll throw it up. I don't know. But like I thought that was decent. I want to see this live. I want to see the dance practice to this. I want to see the live performance of this. He was showing the fuck out. Like this is different. I love the look. I love the aesthetic. He's giving Bad Boy all the tattoos and the energy. He did the famous little shoulder joint out. It's a good joint for him, man. Now I want to see. Now I want to know what the album is going to be all about, especially with the whole like "Set Me Free" type concept. But I'm talking too much. Y'all can talk. I'll jump back in.
This is part 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear part 1.
Did he drop a part 1?
Right. I didn't hear part 1.
Like, dang. I hope the part 1 is on the album because if this is this fire, part 1 gotta be fire also.
It'd be funny if he
set me free.
Part 1.
It's just the part 2. He's like,
That's happened though before with artists and shit, where it'll be like a part 2 to something and it don't be no 1 or something. You be like,
one is an interlude.
Or you just be like, when did I miss this?
When is his album drop? Next week?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that John. Yo, first of all, shout out to all of the dancers involved in this. This was absolutely fantastic, and I would love to watch this in person. So many dancers, so many different things that are going on at the same time. But they all executed it so well. Being visually pleasing to look at, but still not drawing attention away from Jimin. But it's Jimin, he just commands attention very easily. But this is fire. I'm not really surprised because I always knew Jimin, he's him. He's going to do something like this. I've been saying this since day one. If he goes solo, he could be one of the greatest artists ever. And he's showing out right here. You feel me? I'm a little bit sad because they talking about he got to go to the military at some point. Man is a diamond. Man is a diamond, man. He can do it all. He can do it all, man. And he's good at it. He's good at it. It's just him. He just got that aura, that energy. Of course, there's a lot of hard work and dedication that goes behind it. But sometimes, no matter how hard you work, unfortunately, sometimes you need a little extra spiciness or sauce on top that they like to call him or being it. And Jimin is it. He is him. I could relate to that. That's why he's my bias. That shit was fire, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
I think selfishly, you know how like obviously with BTS, since it's 7 members, when all of them have solo work, sometimes you think you know what type time they're gonna be on by themselves as an artist. I think literally, if anybody's been here, and hopefully all y'all watching are subscribed, 70% of y'all aren't, y'all should be. But if y'all watch like all of our old takes and we've talked about like, yo, when they, do solo work, I think this is gonna sound like this and this is gonna sound like this, blase blah. I didn't know which kind of direction he was gonna go in as far as musically.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know if you were gonna get like kind of ballads, if it was gonna be kind of traditional pop, if he was gonna be experimental with like rap, or what he was gonna do.
A little bit of all of that.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of blown away, just because obviously Vibe wasn't his song, but like that's what I wanted from him. And then this being his song, this is what I want from him. Just those high octane songs where you can do a dance performance to it. You can just turn up vocally if you want to. You feel like, ironically, that vibe and that energy, and ironically, it just sets you free.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Part 2.
Trying part 2. But nah, with that being said, selfishly, it's just like I'm a little overjoyed and I'm surprised just because so far he's given me all the music that like I wanted and stuff. Not saying like, I wouldn't have appreciated like a ballad or anything else, but I feel like this is what the streets need.
For sure. I kind of want everybody to get their clip off so we could watch it again.
Yeah, definitely about to spin the block back on this joint.
From the opening moment, the choreo kind of just set the tone for everything. The dark gray, black tones with like the dark backdrop, just kind of very simplistic, but like definitely just set a vibe throughout the entire video. Choreo went crazy, high energy all the way through, very precise, very clean. Song was crazy. Just the production was dope. I know it was a sample of something. I just can't think of what it is. And it's going to bother me because it's a song I hear a lot too.
It's probably that one song with the instruments.
Where did you figure that out? I love Jared. No, but I definitely like the sentiment of "Set Me Free." Like a couple points in the choreography, he definitely had people kind of like pointing at him in four corners. Or the first time, well, I know the first hook he had like 4 people kind of just circling him, kind of pointing, like almost like chastising him, keeping him under lock, under wraps. And even in the second time, he even elevated them to kind of give them like hierarchy or to show a more or less a balance. That's not the word I'm looking for. Like a hierarchy as far as class. The people are higher than him, taller than him, like your manager looking down on you or whatever. Not to say that anybody in Big Hit is in that realm, but just people in general.
Power dynamics.
Yes. But and then they're still kind of breaking free from that mode as well. Like everything was just well done. Yo, that was a cut. That was a fire because the person that was him
Was a background dancer.
once the cut happened. That was fire.
We switched places with him.
Well, yeah, but all in all, this was just like really, really crazy. Midway through the song, I had to remind myself that it was Jimin because I was just listening to the song without putting it in the context as to who was actually doing the singing. It was just a fire joint. It didn't sound like Jimin or remind me of Jimin as far as the solo work that we've heard prior up to this point, but that was the best part about it.
This is Jimin 2.0.
It's something.
We're at a new level.
It's something. This is Jimin Part 2.
Jimin Part 2.
Because even if you look at all his like solo work within the group, like Serendipity, Lie, Filter, kind of jazzy, ballady, heavy on the vocals, but like, very kind of smooth, light a candle, start a session type shit. But this is just like high energy. Like you could put this in the car and just go off down the block, probably bang out on.
He need a Nicki
Boulevard.
Minaj feature.
That would be crazy.
You gonna say technically they had one?
Yeah, technically they did.
I feel
I would love to see a Nicki and Jesse feature. Right. So, no, but all in all, this or Glow Religion. Yeah, that'd be kind of.
You playing around with
the music they gonna make when they like reunite on some Avengers shit.
Listen, though,
that shit gonna be crazy because all they solo work so far has been fire. Individually, they all running their own lanes.
So let me ask you a question real
merge back
quick.
together.
When they come back together, and if they dropped like a triple CD of new music.
I mean, first off, the street's gonna be happy with just the comeback. I'm pretty sure whenever the comeback drop, I can call it now. There's gonna be something like 200 million views on the first day. Probably break whatever records needs to be broken respectively over every field. A 3-part CD might be crazy. I mean, I'm here for it and shit, but it's just they might Knowing them, they'll cook up. They be like the streets
So-
to get the first CD.
So like the first CD will be a culmination of all their solo work before they or during the whole breakup before the military go. The second one will probably be like maybe 2 or 3 new musics, whatever. You know what I mean?
CD one might be a little bit hard because J Hope and RM's work were all on the album, so you'd essentially be like taking songs off an album. And it's probably the same with Jimin too. Vibe wasn't his song, and then this is on the album. I get what you're saying though. That would be in theory that is. Unless you took the best of
right, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what they did
Okay.
for like the best of yet to come. But now that we've actually got to that point and past that point, now we're taking the stuff that's after that. And now we're putting out on the album. For those that didn't, that we're gonna take the best cuts from everybody's album, put that on album 1. Maybe we'll do something with all rap line on album 2. Oh, that'd be crazy. All rap line, or just 3 new Jones. 1 with everybody, 1 with all rap line, and 1 with all vocal line. That'd be fire.
BTS album fantasy draft.
the fantasy draft.
That'd be fire. But all in all, like I said, I thought this was crazy. I can't wait to hear more of this. I want to know if the entire album kind of fits this vibe, or is this like the outlier in the album? If it is, that's fine. I definitely love albums with duality and mix to it. I think that's what everybody kind of loved about J Hope's second album. Once you got to the halfway point, it was a switch flip and gave you a different vibe. But I'm definitely interested into where this goes. I don't know why, for whatever reason, at the end of the video, it gave me like Jet Li, the One vibes. I hate you, bro. but that's the kind of the vibe I was getting.
Because everyone that was holding him up or holding him back all essentially died, and he was set free.
Well, not only that, but like he kind of cast all his darkness. He cast his darkness off and became a child of light at the end. Yeah,
Face.
but I thought this was just a really good joint.
It's crazy
Dancers,
'cause
shout out to the dancers, bro.
It's crazy because the video is all white and blacks as far as color scheme goes. Yeah, another thing too is I think me and Kurt used to talk about this with the Stay Alive track with JK about how it almost sounded like pleading. I do like how he keeps on going on with the chorus on here, and it does also kind of give off that like that pleading vibe of almost like, kind of the Set Me Free John. And I also do like how I mentioned before that it's ironic vibe isn't like his song, but somehow this is still the same aesthetic. Like kind of even like how the vibe of the music video and stuff is all on the inside. So it does feel like that maybe is the look that he wants to go for. I think the album cover is even kind of like metallic, like you know what I mean, like kind of on this type time.
I think vibe is more colorful. I think his aesthetic in vibe matches more so this, more so dark,
more so tall, like the
dark,
layer
slender,
and everything.
right.
Not so much like the color palette. Because the color palette and vibe had like the reds and yellows and stuff.
Yeah, had that color splash on it.
Yeah, this is just gonna be the monotones.
Yeah. I forgot the fuck I was gonna say, but because it was something off of what you said. But it was
Just the vibe and everything. Ironically, on vibe was matched it, but the color palettes and some things were different.
that's what I was gonna say.
Like how
Even
you
though-
said, "Fuck your ops."
That's the language, the aggression. That part kind of like caught me off guard.
It was a little more aggressive than you would expect. Like
A little more aggressive. So like if he said, "Yo, name a member in the BTS that's gonna have like maybe 4 cuss words in the joint," Jimin would be the last dude. Jimin would be the last dude I would think.
I would expect the y'all.
I'd expect Jin more than Jimin.
No.
Yeah.
Jimin is him.
You heard Jimin on here saying, "Hey fools, get out my way, back up."
Yeah,
shut the
but
fuck up.
that's
Think he told
only
someone to
here.
shut the
But
fuck up?
prior to this joint, I wouldn't have thought that's how he would.
My guy
Come
on
on,
here
somebody
with the
gotta be the
stigmata
Beyonce of the
tattoos
group.
on. He ready to smack the shit out of one of these haters.
But he definitely. I wonder who he
That's
was in
the
the lab
vibe
with.
now.
Anybody know who he was in the lab with this joint, or who wrote or who produced it?
I would just assume P Dog. I heard a lot of the production was let me rephrase that. I heard he was working with Ariana Grande producers, and I seen like the pictures and
I know
everything.
he had a ghost loop for a lot of the album too.
Yeah, so it's
I don't know if it's
Grande.
this song particularly. But
yeah, so I know it seemed to be a few different producers he was working with. I'm paraphrasing.
I will. No,
Zach
I was
gon-
gonna say.
Zach
but
gon'
even
fact
so,
check that.
even if like necessarily he didn't write it or whatever, nothing goes on this album without his okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
If he feels the way the song is reflecting, then it's still his song in essence. I mean, like we talk about Janet Jackson, her being one of the greatest all the time. Like she never really wrote what she did, but she told how she felt to Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. They put it in lyrical in a lyrical format. Gave her a writer's credit and whatever. You know what I mean? But it was still a reflection of her, how she felt at that time. So this could still be the same. Like maybe Jimin is just feeling like I just need to be set free from the boy band kind of image, aesthetic, and the idol vibe, and just be my own person.
It was a collaborative credit from producers P.Dog, Ghost Loop, Evan, and groupmate RM.
Okay,
Interesting.
The monster.
Yeah. Nah, then
That's
Shout out
definitely
them.
interesting.
You think RM probably wrote some of the rap verses?
I'm not sure. I'm on the type time with you. First off, when it comes to singers, I don't care who's writing
At all.
at all.
Knowing Arn, though, I
was
feel
n-
like he would have wanted him to be himself.
Yes,
you know,
and
especially
that's
for an album,
yeah.
not for a single.
And that's where I was going to lean to, is that regardless of probably who was writing or what's going on, like you said, I think he would have enough creative decisions, leeway, and Bang would let him kind of do what he wants. That's the whole point of Big Hit. Is for everyone to kind of get their clip off and do what they want.
But
with
if
the music.
anybody was going to like be in the studio and help him write the song, RM and Sugar probably know him the best.
Yeah.
Out of anybody who could be in that producer group or tandem. So I would definitely expect them. Maybe like some of the words don't translate, or you know what I mean. Just being there to kind of give spiritual and make sure that Jimin kind of comes across the way Jimin chooses and wants to come across.
Yeah, if the album is 13 songs, and it might be asking for a lot with K-pop. Let me rephrase that. If the album is 10 songs, I would assume RM may be responsible for like 2 or 3. Other than that, I feel like outside of P-Dog and a couple other people, like you said, Ghost Loop and all that stuff, I think he'll probably have like, you get these 2, you get these 2, you get these 3, you get these 2. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm good.
J. Cole, that's the John. That's what the sample sound like.
Oh,
Shit, Jimmy and
What is it,
Jimin
middle-
and
not
Fabio
middle
would
child.
probably go hard.
yeah.
Now you could really pair Jimin with anybody.
Yeah, that one.
You can though, and he is that upper erratic voice, like where it's just, I feel like be like a great pairing with a lot of people, rappers and other singers over here too.
This choreo's fucking crazy.
Choreo's got
bro.
to. I wish it was a dance practice first we can get into. How you feel, Kurt?
Yeah, this honestly, I mean, he completely surprised me on here for sure. Definitely the uses of the cursing, just to kind of put the obvious out there, like that was just something that like it was a bold statement. It felt like a real exclamation point to everything that he was saying. And I like the choice to kind of boldly stand by that as well. His voice, and it feels almost it's. I'm trying to think of how to word it. It's like sad in a way, but like in a good way, in the sense that we know he has a beautiful voice. And I did like the uses of autotune in here, though generally I'm not a fan of autotune. But with the whole set me free aspect, knowing that he has such a beautiful voice and kind of using autotune with him saying the set me free, I felt like that was a great production choice to kind of showcase the aspect of setting me free or being like buried behind it. So I like that they kind of used the autotune to essentially convey a little bit more of that pleading, where it's like, I'm trying to break free. I'm trying to break through some kind of barrier. So I just thought within the hook and everything, and definitely the desperation and the pleading in his voice, I thought that was something that was really good. And it's interesting too, because, the lyrics he was saying, like, the whole, like even being cocooned almost, which I want to say definitely shout out to, the choreography and everything. There was so much incredible storytelling throughout here. For sure, like, but back to like the fly like a butterfly part or whatever is right before that is when he was in that weird like sideways 9 kind of formation or whatever, and I don't know if that was to say that he like that was like a cocoon or anything like that, because he was like on the outside, but then he was kind of balled back in the inside at the centerpiece of it. So I don't know if that was a reference to anything cocoon like, or if there's something even deeper, because he clearly had like writing in another language on his chest and everything like that, and I couldn't make out what any of that was. There wasn't a close enough shot of it or anything, but if it was a reference to like anything of that nature, then that would make sense as well. But the choreography, like even kind of how they started in blanketing him kind of in the formation and everything, almost drowning him out, and then they kept with like the 360. I don't know if it was drone footage or anything, but the wraparound shots. basically as though you're like trying to find him. So I think that was really creative as far as how they kind of buried him in the sequence. And then for him to kind of work his way to the front of that formation, basically where he's not buried by the charge, he's now leading the charge. So I thought like aspects like that were done really well. Another thing too, definitely to speak on, I like how the choreography in the beginning when they kind of had their forearm over their eyes with their hands like stretched out. So I thought that was really cool as far as like it felt like a blind judgment, I guess, which is the whole fuck the haters kind of aspect that he's going with, at least at certain points in the song. So it kind of felt like it's like my eyes are blind, but I'm still like reaching for something, and that could be interpreted many ways, whether it's like dreams or anything like that. But it felt more, at least to my perception of it, like kind of like a hater thing, as far as like how they won't really be seeing anything, but then still be kind of reaching for you. And I guess in part that was also because of the set piece. The set piece felt a little bit like Shadow to me from the MV, and so I guess I was kind of getting that whole self sort of doubt and kind of like talking about those familiar themes at least. But yeah, I did really enjoy this a lot. There's so much to be said as far as like even if you kind of go towards that centerpiece of it when they had that incredible match cut to free him towards the end actually. So I thought like because they even hoisted him up, and I know how you were saying like the power dynamic like you're like raising him up on a pedestal seemingly, but I almost thought that was something that was almost like religiously like sacrificial as far as like the imagery, if that makes sense, because he was like hoisted up, but he kind of looked like he had like been defeated, like how you kind of lift someone up after like a great sacrifice or something. So it kind of reminded me of that, to where like it felt like this past version of him like basically gave all he had. And it almost felt like that rebirth, like a phoenix or something like that. Like you have to go through a death of sorts to kind of be, risen up again. And I don't know if that's to say like about, career or anything like that. But to tell you the truth, it actually felt a little bit more sad, even though he was somewhat freed at the end. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Blood, Sweat, and Tears when V had that final turnaround, like the fallen angel kind of aspect, as far as like turning the face to the camera. So yeah, like he was dressed in white, and it seems like it was conveyed positively. But how we were talking about like the lighting and everything too, as far as like mostly blacks and whites. The biggest hue really is in the blue, and the blue feels more so depressing kind of than uplifting, as weird as that may seem, as far as like them literally like lifting him up. But I think that's more of a sadness. Like it's like because he says he's still in a maze and everything like that. So it's like it feels like it's conveying a little bit of those kind of aspects. But I did like this a lot. I think there was references to On, if I'm not mistaken, too, as far as some of the choreography that they had in there, if I'm not mistaken.
And lyrics.
Mm-hmm. What lyric was it, by the way?
You gotta go and be insane to stay sane, or something like that.
Okay. But it was so like stuff like that, and even that in and of itself is like you kind of have to go to limits that are like beyond what people will perceive in a positive way to kind of like keep containment on yourself, and also like free yourself. But yeah, this all in all, this felt like really just such a different direction for him. But I really enjoyed it. It definitely feels like, just because the album's called Face, if I'm not mistaken, right? Mm-hmm. So that whole aspect of kind of freeing yourself and everything. Like being your true self, it kind of feels like it's going to echo Filter and kind of themes within that a little bit. But also just to kind of touch down on one last thing is the fact that throughout a large portion of especially early in his career and everything with the group, that he how he struggled with his image for so long. So I like the fact that kind of the lyrics are basically like I'm gonna keep going regardless of the haters and everything like that, to where it's like I'm solidified kind of in belief in myself and going for like everything like that. Just feels like an incredible kind of journey, and I'm curious to see how he's going to explore that within Face, which I imagine is going to be similar themes. And I guess the last thing I was really going to add is how the lighting had them silhouetted for a large portion of everything to kind of like bring them to that forefront at the end, where it's like like I like how the lighting was kind of telling a little bit of a story too, in tandem with the background, and for him to basically use the aspect of setting yourself free and having like slowly his body being exposed, if that makes sense, as far as like the shirt reveal and everything like that. I think that was interesting too, as far as like a stylistic choice and everything, because you're literally kind of stripping away layers to free yourself, to be vulnerable and to express yourself. So I think that was something that was interesting too. But this definitely blew me away. It's a direction I didn't expect from him, necessarily at all. It seems like the album's definitely going to be a little bit darker, and I'm kind of curious to, get to that point. But for what this says about what the album could potentially be and everything, it's definitely got me like really hyped.
Fun facts.
Yeah. Two things. One, the track list is 6 tracks. Jimin is credited as co-writer on 5 of them, while BTS bandmate RM is credited on 3 of them. Another fact, its title bears an intentional similarity to Set Me Free by BTS bandmate Suga from 2020 mixtape D2.
Maybe that's why it's part 2.
Though neither song is actually connected to one another.
Okay.
In an interview published the day of the single's release, Jimin stated that we weren't trying to divide part 1 or part 2, but since it turns out my song talks about freedom and moving forward, and Suga's song talks about some of the stories that come before, I thought it would be good to come after that.
Nice.
That's love.
I love how they use those pieces to kind of build
bless your soul.
themselves too, with regards to that. Because how much songs they've had collectively in all their solo work and collective as a group and everything. I mean, they've got to have close to 500 plus songs at least. It feels like.
Feels that way.
But all that to say, hyperbole or not, all that to say that for how much subjects they must have touched on and how much universal themes they must have connected to in different ways throughout different stages of their career. I do like that they always kind of try to keep everything, in relation to each other, but also separate it and make it feel their own, when necessary. That's really insightful too.
I think a bigger thing is just what Hybe is doing as a label. So like if you take a step back and you look at everything, right? You got New Jeans who are kind of breaking the fourth wall, especially when it comes to songs like Ditto,
feature.
especially the video where they kind of almost imply that we're not even people anymore. We're just here to kind of be whatever you need us to be. As K-pop stars, like that's, we're just kind of stuck in this make-believe world of being stars, like with the whole Hani's thing being an iPhone, and even one of them was like, tell them like, no, we're the group New Jeans, like we're filming a video, just kind of like, and even at the end, Minji, when she stops the girl from sending out the tweet, it's like, relax. At the end of the day, we're still people. Fast forward, you also see the same thing in Le Seraphim.
Anti-Fragile.
Right, Anti-Fragile. Like in, what was the last one they did? Anti-Fragile, where they kind of like, we're not just K-pop stars. We're almost kind of bucking the system.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The other track.
Yes,
No Celestial.
Yes, No Celestial. You also have
and Hyphen, Bless Curse, and all that.
Bruh, I was just about to talk. Yes,
I got you.
Yeah. And then you got everybody who's like, even you could even like, if you wanted to go on our same road, Arson, J-Hope kind of burning down what the visual of an idol used to be. Even if you want to do Black Eye,
did it.
yeah, Black Eye by Vernon is so far away from what the idol song is, but they're all on that Hybe label and they're all kind of giving different aspects and breaking away from what the idol picture is supposed to be or perceived to be.
Just to double down on that, even in our comments and everything for No Celestial, just as a brief thing, one of the songs was Idol or whatever, like bending the word. So I mean, there's wordplay even in that, and I know we haven't gotten to that track yet, but it definitely seems to be relevant as far as what you're saying with the label kind of pushing that idea of being yourself, the music coming first, straying from the norm,
breaking the system.
And it's, I mean, they had to break the system to become the new measure of the system in a way. So break the mold to, or learn the mold to break the mold sort of thing, I guess.
It just makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so 2 things too, because I want to jump back into this video and make it real quick. I do love the choreo when it comes to like multiple things. They got like a joint where it reminded me of like the I was about to say House of Dragons, Game of Thrones joint. Almost like Shame. like almost when they judging.
When they're pointing at him,
when they pointing and doing like the whole judging.
Well, they
thing.
do it twice though. They do it at ground level.
They do a ground level, and then they are above him, elevated, doing it, almost like they judging. And obviously, this has like 1,000 different forms of talking about like setting free. We've talked about the phoenix, everything. He literally talks about the butterfly, and at the beginning, you can see them in the shape of a caterpillar, like working that around, and then they cocoon him, and then
if you're shielded or sheltered too, that's also a metaphor for being cocooned. Like you're kind of wrapped up or protected in some way. So even the freedom of like allow me to fly, whether it's like a sink or swim sort of analogy. Even that, like I'm ready to, he even said like my prime has begun and everything like that. Like I'm stepping into my best form. I
mean, that cocoon could be a metaphor for anything. Cocoon could be the metaphor for the K-pop idol system. Yeah. It could be the metaphor for his bandmates, BTS, always covering him, protecting him, and allowing him to grow within that. But now that he's no longer within them, he can now spread his wings and fly. So, you know what I mean? Like,
he definitely makes it,
bro.
It can tie into anything.
Yeah, he definitely makes it seem like I'm not hiding from shit no more. Like, this is what it is.
This is, yeah.
But with that being said, we about to jump back into this shit.
Hit the track.
What's this? Right.
Play the fucking track. Loud as shit.
Yo, make sure it's loud as fuck.
Bro, we got you. It's loud as fuck.
Headphone users beware.
I've been spending most of my life living in the gangster's paradise.
No, it does.
It's the gangster's paradise, kind of. He said it sounded like the J. Cole song. They feel it, the J. Cole, it counted me out.
Middle child.
Saying I'm in the streets of fire. That
layering.
Production was crazy. That's when they run into that light. It's lit. I let her set me free. Set me free. This shit gonna go crazy in live performance. Oh, yeah. It's like, he gonna have Cookie come out.
Fire.
We didn't deserve all this greatness, man.
I don't know why, but I feel like LeBron James really liked this song.
Yeah, I feel like he could hoop to this.
LeBron James.
Yeah. If he had a joint like a documentary, this would be how it would come on.
This is a little
I thought it was
bronze.
This made you a little emotional, man.
A little bit.
I see the eyes watering.
Look at the eyes glisten. Did Jimin make sure it cry?
A little bit.
Did he set you free?
He did.
Sometimes you need this.
Bro, I like how he said the like raise your hands for my past or whatever, but then they literally raise him up
And they raise him
pulse him up. So it's literally like they're holding his past up or holding up his past or the past version of him. So which makes that match cut hit a little bit more too.
Nah, this was a good joint. I can tell that like, you know, the Redeemers army in general really like needed this because it was just so many people that was like flooding like our DMs, flooding like YouTube, hitting us up on Twitter, just like, you know, this kind of was something they needed to kind of uplift them and kind of set them free from like troubles that they had going on. So, you know, outside of the music being, outside of the music being what it is and stuff.
I was actually
just
cool with that.
The music was music.
Just to add to that a little bit is the fact that it's like even the set you free or set me free aspects, you know, within the song, you know, clearly being the hook and the central theme of everything, you know, and them obviously, you know, wearing like dark clothing and everything like that to convey like that bit of darkness or whatever. Like, but all that to say, it's like I really like that they like don't shy away from like the darkness within it. Like you have to kind of be in some sort of dark space, whether it's like your past or whatever kind of metaphor you read into that with. You know, you have to. There has to like the Phoenix aspect, where it's like there has to be a death of some sorts or something. You know, some kind of thing that's whatever turmoil that represents has to be kind of like squandered for you to kind of heal ultimately.
I mean, you see that a lot in literature throughout.
No, for sure.
Gandalf the Grey turning white. You see it in Neo becoming the one. He had to die. The old thing. It's in the Bible. The old thing has to die before the new thing can be reborn.
Literally, Jesus
Christ died to be reborn. It's based on that. You know what I mean?
Keeping it with the cocoon metaphor, it's like all these stories come from central bases and paradigms that are then
nature
molded and kind of put new skins on and seen in new interpreted in new ways, and I think that's really incredible. Just how like the same core of those stories can be represented in very different ways, and to get all this in a 3-minute song or whatever, that's something that's incredible in and of itself too.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
That fucking stage, amazing. Because I wonder what it looks like if you bring it all the way back.
I love that
because there was an actual corridor when like first started, and then they backed up into the opening. So I'm wondering if it's like a giant igloo looking thing.
Probably is. I've got the bread. This is somebody's bedroom.
Look at that storytelling though. It's like from the choreography to the wardrobe to the lighting, the staging of everything. Like all that's being conveyed so well. Even in the production, as far as the auto tune, again, like drowning out his voice. To kind of bury him in some regard for the aspects of the Set Me Free to kind of,
almost
to convey,
like he's drowning.
Yeah, to convey that like maze aspect.
One
like,
could argue
all that
that,
stuff is really impressive.
You called it an igloo. One could argue the setting is a cocoon too.
You know what strangely I thought first? I actually thought of the third Matrix with the room with the TVs and everything.
Oh yeah,
Second.
When they the second one when they had
No, you good.
when they had that pointless conversation.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
He said don't do it.
People know what they were saying in there. They weren't as smart as they thought. Saying nah. He said, "You're not saying anything precisely."
Like, but I intended not to.
But I intended not to. I wanted you to catch what it was like. Yeah, what you want to add?
Like what would have been, I like your cocoon thing, but would have been a dope shot is actually showing him kind of walk out of the cocoon in the all white. Or even if they did like a play on shadows, kind of like what they did with, they didn't do a play on shadows in Black Swan, but they gave him wings. Like even if they had like shadow wings as he was walking out.
Oh, I get what you mean. One of those genres where you just walking and like this silhouette is actually wings, but it's no wings on him.
Like a supernatural-esque type, what they do with the angels.
Oh, what they always do with angels.
Yeah.
And supernatural.
And
that would be fire.
And the fact, just to briefly touch, to add to that, is just like the fact that you can, like, if you have that blank sheet of paper as far as like, okay, we have the song, what are we going to do with the choreography, or how do we, want to tell that story? The fact that you can go those routes, the routes that they went in here as far as the artistic designing and the writing and stuff like that, I'm not, sure what that means, and there wasn't like a close enough shot or anything, but you can go those routes, even like we see it in choreography as far as mirroring, as far as like, kind of puppeteering and things of that to convey control, just hiding someone or burying them in a formation to have them then step out and to convey something. Like there's just so many intricate ways that people can kind of go about telling those things. And they feel, all BTS, of course, and, Jimin for sure, too. But it's, they all feel so particular in what they intend that kind of everything you see, you can't help but, know that there must have been so much thought that went into everything. So you can't help but just, appreciate the art.
This feel like Sienna work.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave it alone,
I was
and I'm
feeling
gonna let them, obviously people gonna know.
I was thinking that too.
This feels like her work though, with high
quick
energy
movements, very snappy.
Yeah,
a lot of good formations. I'm surprised she's not in the video, but
yeah. And if it's not her work, shout out to whoever did the choreography for it. But
I know she was also doing the Super Bowl with Rihanna, so maybe she didn't have time when they were filming this.
Well, you know them. You never know how long this been in the works. They might have did this 2 months ago or something. What I mean? You never know with the.
And just one last thing to add to the choreography. I like that, how they have the scolding aspects where it's like they're looking down on you, judging you, pointing at you, their eyes being blind but still reaching for you or everything, whether that's idol life or whatever that represents. But I also like that when it gets to the latter parts of everything, they're still following in his footsteps seemingly. So whether it's people are going to hate you regardless of what you do, or people are going to follow you regardless of what you do, however they interpret that, if that is indeed, any kind of reference to idol system or whatever. But just the idea that basically, if I'm doing me, there's still going to be people who are going to gravitate towards me. It's kind of strange because it's you make the background both the hero and the villain, or someone who's an ally and an enemy in the same regard. I mean, I'm sure it can be interpreted a plethora of ways, but I just thought that was something that was pretty interesting too.
I mean, even this part, he's out of the formation. He stepped away from everybody.
Went on
then
the
two people push him back into a box, quote unquote, where he's now being chastised again.
Exactly.
Or he's being put in a box.
No, but it's the moment you try to step out of whatever they expect you to be that they want to shove you back into
Pandora's box.
It's right when you step out of what they want you to be that you get shoved back into it. No, you should be this. No, you should do this. You should go back to this. And then you're scolded again. And that's what I like too, because the lighting remained blue in that regard. So it was like a light, from the darkness that was, shown in the beginning, but it was still depressing in a way. So that I just found that really interesting too.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm gonna wrap this up, but this really what BTS does in particular, and obviously each member by themselves, I feel like it just kind of extending what they do great, and that's contextually being able to tell a masterpiece story within a 3-minute frame, to do either choreography or MV showcasing the same content, to where if you didn't even see the lyrics, you can contextually kind of get what was going on just watching it. And they put on a masterclass with that. I feel like other groups probably would have over the years kind of took some of those philosophies and then put that into everything that they do. So, that's God tier.
You notice at the end too how even though he's in the white, there's no light on his face.
No,
you're not showing that's what I'm saying. You're showing no identity kind of within that. So I just find that really interesting too. That was brilliantly told.
No, a lot of themes, and like you said, we talked about a lot of the songs before about live filter and other songs, and it seems a lot of we did this with the Yugi segment where it just was a lot of the parallels to kind of
I felt Shadow
songs that kind of keep doubling down on things that they kind of want to talk about. So I can't wait to hear what the rest of the album is gonna be like. Y'all good, Joe? Yeah, jump in the comments. Tell us how y'all feel about this. Tell us where y'all rank this at as far as Jimin songs, man. Yeah, shout out to bro, man. He's really out here doing big things. It's his turn. Can't wait to see what this album is gonna be like. If you're not subscribed, y'all missing out, man. You're gonna miss it when we drop these B-sides on here. If you're not on the Patreon, you're gonna miss a lot of stuff. Literally about to jump into the J. Cole, J-Hope stuff. New RM content is up there. Suge Day was up there. His stuff is fire. The Hope shit.
We're not diabetics.
The Hope stuff is up there with his album review and everything as well. Love y'all. We're gonna holler at y'all.
You can't Jim out.
Take care.